Hi, in this video we're going to talk about the design process. What I mean by that is, what is the process that designers go through in order to come up with these incredible ideas to support the script and the story, and how do they work with the director? Okay, so the very first thing that a designer does is they read the script. And if there's not a script available, like if they're working on an original piece, they're probably going to read some of that source material, whatever the other folks on the team are reading. So for example, we're going to hear from a designer who worked on the play Jane Eyre. And the play didn't come from a pre-written script. The play that they produced was developed in the rehearsal room as they were working. And so the actors, the director, and the designers all went to the book, the novel Jane Eyre, as their original source material, and to start to get ideas for themes and stuff. So the very first thing that you do as a designer is you read the source material, or you read the script, and you start to get ideas. So you're paying attention to themes, like how does this make me feel? Do I start to see shapes or patterns as I read this? It goes back to some really classic text analysis. Could be script analysis, it could be literature analysis, but you're using a lot of those same tools. So what are the themes? Are there colors, shapes, patterns that you start to associate with the story? And then the designer goes out into the world. They start to collect images. Now, those images could be, if I'm a lighting designer, those images could be of lighting that reflects the time of day that we're seeing in the script. Those images could be of the costumes or clothing that I'm starting to associate with this. Those images could be textures. For example, if I'm reading something that feels gritty, what do I think feels gritty? What images do I associate with that theme? So maybe I associate this idea of broken bottles, or maybe it's dirty asphalt, or maybe it's crumbling concrete. So what feels gritty, if that is the theme? And then what images do we start to associate that? Maybe it's ripped clothing, maybe it's oil-stained fabric, all of those things. So the designer brings in these associations. The designer also starts to think about the audience reaction. So, for example, the set designer, often the set is seen before anything else in the play. We see the set very frequently before we hear the first moment of spoken word. So how do I want the audience to feel at the top of this show? And how does that put the audience in the right mood to receive the story? If I have a character and I'm working on costume, how do I want the audience to receive this character the very first time that they see this person? And how does this character compare to the other people that we see on stage? Now, once the designer has a lot of ideas, their next job is to figure out how to communicate those ideas with the director, because at the end of the day, the director has the final say. Very frequently, the designers will find pictures that will communicate the images that they have in their head, or they will make sketches that sketch out so you can really get a concrete feel for what's going on, or some designers will just go ahead and build models or mock-ups to start to give the director a sense of where their head is at. Now, some designers have a little bit of a longer timeline. So for example, we're going to start set design and costume design long before we do auditions, long before we bring in the actors. We will start lighting design conversations long before we have those other actors. However, we will also start, the lighting designer often isn't brought in until later on in the process. So we have longer timelines for set and costume, a longer gestation period for the lighting designer, although the hands-on lighting design time, as you will learn later in this module, is a little bit shorter than the other folks get. And the same with sound design. Sound design, we have a little bit of a lead time on that. And what happens is, even though I'm going to create a design concept at the beginning of the show, I will do that with the understanding that as the actors are cast and as the rehearsal process continues, things might change. The actors and the director sometimes discover new and exciting things, and so my design has to evolve as the other elements of the play evolve. And at the end of the day, the set design, the costume design, the lighting design, and the sound design, they all have to be cohesive. And that means they have to work together to tell the story, and they all need to feel like they're in the same world. So if I'm going for a hyper-realistic set, and we've got super cartoonish costumes and makeup, that's not really the same world. There's a little bit of a disconnect. But if I have a cartoonish set and cartoonish costumes, those are going to go right together. And that's going to work really well. All right, I look forward to seeing what you put together as you go through this module.